Welcome to the Photo Brew. I'm Manny.
I'm David, and we have 3 cameras finally.
Yeah, 3
Dude,
cameras
this
set up.
is like a super legit setup. Thank you, Manny, for getting everything kind of like dialed in. We're using the R6 today.
Yes.
So I got a new toy. We're actually going to be talking about that today.
Okay.
But before we jump into that, what are we drinking today, Manny?
Today we are drinking the French roast.
Literally says French on it.
It says French. From the Night Owl in Fullerton, California.
Ooh, okay.
And I'm not sure if they brew their own beans. I try to look into it to see if that's something they do or if they just buy them. So yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, let's try it. Salute. Also, Adrian's our studio audience.
Yep, we have a studio audience today.
Hello.
Take that, Oprah.
Yeah. Free coffee for everybody.
Oh, this is really good.
Yeah.
It's got an interesting aftertaste.
Not too bad.
Yeah. It's like not really sweet, but there is kind of like this like mild like sweetness or tartness to it.
Yeah. It's got a little bit bitterness to it as well. But I like it.
But yeah, man.
Not
so
too bad.
I'm really happy that we finally have 3 cameras. We could actually talk to the center now if we wanted to.
Then we can punch in and do
all this stuff. So we're still dialing everything in. So you know, if there's a couple hiccups along the way, we apologize. But I think this setup's gonna work. But yeah, man, I love the R6.
Nice.
It's such a great camera.
So what have you done with it so far?
So I've kind of the only like real video I shot with it was for espresso cuts, and just some vertical stuff for their reels.
Okay.
And shooting at 120 frames in slow motion handheld with IBIS and lens IS looks incredibly smooth. Like, it was butter.
Fucking sharp as hell.
Like I was blown away. I was blown away how sharp this camera is at 1080p.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. The video you sent me, the uncompressed video, it was fucking clean.
Yeah, it's I was just like, this camera did that, huh? And it's like, yeah, man. I feel like this is what Canon should have given us with the R when it first came out. But obviously it's a new kind of like area of the market that they were exploring at the time. They kind of wanted to play it safe, and I feel they were smart to get the lenses out first and then the bodies later.
Yeah, I definitely think they made a really smart move with that. I mean, they could be Nikon right now.
Yeah. They could be actually, no, Pentax is going to save us from overheating.
Are they coming out with a new camera?
I think they are, but it's like a special edition, like rebrand of like one of their old cameras.
Oh, okay. I
heard
cool because something, but I wasn't sure if it was a new camo or if it was like a rumor.
Yeah, like the only thing I saw on Facebook, because I follow them on Facebook, because for those of you who don't know, I actually used to shoot Pentax for like 6 months.
Oh, wow.
This was back in like 2014 or 2015.
Was it the best 6 months of your life?
Surprisingly, the camera was really good to use. But like I mentioned in a couple episodes ago, it's like they just don't have a good selection of lenses that, when you look at Nikon and Canon, for example, or even Sony, they have a wide array of like focal ranges. And I kind of think they have everything that you typically would need in a shoot. But, I mean, it's Pentax, man. Like they do build their cameras like tanks, which is pretty cool.
So, since you've got your R6,
okay,
I'll ask you some questions about it.
We're playing 21 questions. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know if I have 21 questions because, of course I didn't prepare.
we never prepare for these kind of things.
It's kind of last minute.
Yeah, it's all good.
So let's start with the big one.
Okay.
So overheating. I know you ran some tests. How was that?
So I haven't tested the 4K 60, which everyone does say it typically does overheat the camera. I shot at 24 frames a second in 4K. I think it was their just the standard, because I think the R5 has like the high quality mode or the HQ mode, but the R6 doesn't have that. So I just shot 24 frames a second, 4K. I literally left it on my desk, like nothing scientific about it, not actually using it in a real world situation, and it ran for 37 minutes before it overheated. So I let it run for a full 30, then stopped, and then typically when your camera reaches the record limit, it'll tell you like, okay, you have to start it again. You have another 30 minutes before it stops.
Yeah.
It was showing 5 minutes after that first 30-minute video. And then I just let it run after that. And then it went for an extra 7 minutes and it just shut down because it was overheating. But I definitely think it's software induced, because while the body did feel a little warm, not like to the degree that you would expect a camera that is overheating to feel. And like when I pulled the battery out, it was a little warm to the touch, but not like, oh my God, like this is burning my skin off hot.
Yeah.
Like, so I definitely think it's software induced.
Okay. Now, did you try it with both batteries, the
Yes.
old battery and the new?
Yes.
Was there any difference?
Not really. Like I figured, okay, maybe it overheats because it's the newer batteries. You know, it probably has a higher voltage. Totally would make sense.
Yeah.
But it was still doing it with the older Canon LP6E, and I think I said that backwards. The Canon cameras that you know, the 5D EOS R and all those cameras use. Not the new one, the H model, but the N model.
Okay.
That one still overheated the camera.
Interesting. All right, let's see what else. Now, I know you did a lot of photos with it lately, and you were saying, let's compare it to the R.
Okay.
So, compared to when you were shooting with your R, do you see a big difference?
I definitely do, even though it's 20 megapixels versus 30, and the reason for that is because the R has an AA filter. So for those of you who don't know, it's an anti-aliasing filter, and that's typically what they put in front of a sensor, so you eliminate the moire patterns that you typically would see like in video or any like repeating patterns.
Okay.
And so by not having that, it actually increases the sensor's overall like sharpness.
Oh, okay.
And since the R6 doesn't have that, those 20 megapixel images look really fucking good on a big screen. I was like, when I first took some photos with it, like for espresso cuts, and I went home and I edited the photos, I was like, holy shit, this looks really good. Dynamic range is also slightly improved. It's not as, you know, like mind-blowing as like the Sony's, but it's, for a Canon camera, it's definitely a good improvement.
So you think anybody who shoots films definitely gonna hate it because of how sharp it is?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because I mean, even I have to roll back sharp, and I got the RP. So
Yeah.
But it's crazy how like sharp these newer cameras shoot. Like
it's ridiculous,
fucking
man.
insane. And then you get the friggin' L glass behind it.
Dude,
and...
I can't like imagine how crazy good the R5 would look like on a 5K display.
Oh man.
It's just like fuck. But I mean, I'm happy with the R6. Like, I'm really happy I went with this over the R5 just because in terms of the price point to specs, it's basically a mirrorless 1DX Mark III.
Yeah.
Obviously with some caveats because you know, they have to do the price differentiation. So this actually borrowed one thing from the RP that drives me nuts, and that is that there is no custom video profiles.
Oh,
You can't
yeah, I
save it.
remember
You
you
can do
telling me
custom
about
photo
that.
profiles, which is great. But you can't do it for video, which is kind of weird because they marketed it more as a video
Yeah, it was
camera.
a little more like a video than what they were saying. Well, I mean, I guess they kind of marketed both as a video camera in a sense,
Yeah.
but this one definitely is more video, I would say, just because of the lower megapixels. You know, you're gonna get a cleaner image. And so, crap, what was I gonna ask? There was something else I was gonna ask. That'll come to me in a minute.
Yes,
but,
I am taken. So sorry, you can't take me out tonight.
All right. Let's see.
I guess let's jump into IBIS real quick, which blew me away. So I've shot with cameras that never had IBIS and cameras that did have IBIS, and for me, it's not a huge thing if it has it or not, because especially if you're shooting photos and your camera, or sorry, if your lens has IS, like you know, there's still some stability there. But seeing how it shines in video, especially in the slow motion, I was blown away how like steady those videos that I sent you looked.
Yeah.
Because that was all handheld. I didn't use a tripod or anything.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh,
I know the puppy's barking. But I definitely think when I compare it to like say something like the Sony's IBIS and the Panasonic GH5 IBIS, because you know I've shot with those camera systems before, I still feel like it's a close tie between the GH5 and the IBIS and the R6 and R5 because Canon did such a phenomenal job getting it right. Whereas with Sony's, it's good, but you typically see a little bit more of like the shakiness or jerkiness with it. And like Panasonic, Canon's also utilizing both the IBIS and the lens's image stabilization, so you get kind of like dual IBIS. My only gripe though is that if you turn off the lens IS, you shut off IBIS.
Yeah,
So
that's what I heard. That
yeah.
they were a lot of people's gripe was with the R5 with the updates is it kills both.
Yeah, so it's like you can't just like turn it like, especially like let's say if you're on a tripod,
Mm-hmm.
you probably won't need either or, but
Yeah.
you know, if you want to turn one off, it actually turns off both of them. I think you have to go through the menus in order to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it is what it is. It's a little minor thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fixed eventually. So.
I hope so. All right, what else you got for me, man?
Let's see. I'm still thinking of the one that I like lost. I know it was a good one too.
It'll come back to you.
It'll come back. So, as far as let's see, what was I gonna say? As far as like, I think it was something to do with the body. So as far as the body goes, I know it's kind of similar to the RP. How like going from the RP to the R6, how different is it other than the chunkiness? Like,
I mean, it feels like I'm using a DSLR again, which I mean, I still love my 6D Mark II, and just having that heft to, and you felt it,
yeah,
like having that heft to it really makes it feel like a much more rugged camera.
Yeah.
You know, having the actual like scroll wheel in the back to change your aperture is nice, like a DSLR. Having the joystick is great if you need to move your autofocus points around. Although I just use a touchscreen because I'm used to it, using it on the RP and the EOS R. I find that I'm not really missing the LCD panel that was on the top, like on the R. Like again, it'd be nice, you know, especially if like you shoot weddings, but right now I'm not really shooting weddings. So it's one of those things like, it's a nice commodity to have, but not really. And just overall the ergonomics feel really good. Like it feels really good. The grip's nice and deep. My pinky actually has a nice spot to live. It feels really balanced with some of the heavier lenses, like with the 85mm, especially the EF 85-1.4 adapted to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like super front heavy like it does on the RP or on the R. It feels really well balanced.
Okay. Yeah, even the 2470, like when I was filming your camera earlier today, I was like, whoa, it was actually, it felt very balanced compared to the RP. And I always thought the RP was pretty balanced, but now I can feel the big difference. I was like, whoa, it's like, it's just, I think has to do with just the weight. Like the weight seems kind of equal. Yeah. So I remember the question. Okay. So when you initially bought the R, how much did you pay for the R?
For the original EOS R?
Yeah, the original price, not the newer price that's out now.
But I got it, I think about $2,200. That was with, well, no, actually closer to 3Gs because I bought the 24-105 lens with this. So yeah, so it was $2,200 for the body and then $800 for the lens.
Okay, so body wise, if you were to purchase the body versus the R, realistically, if you were going back a year, it's not much difference in price.
Not really, but honestly though, like for what the price range of the R6 is, which is $2,500 versus $2,200 at launch for the original EOS R. Yeah. The R5, or sorry, the R6 is a steal in terms of the price to features, because it's like you have IBIS, you have C-Log, you have a way better autofocus system. Yeah. On it. I said IBIS, right? Yeah, I said IBIS. You have the same big battery. You have dual card slots if you shoot weddings. Yeah. Although the only thing with dual card slots, it's only redundant for photos. You can't do redundant recording to video. Oh, wow. So right now, for example, our middle camera, which is the R6, is only recording to one SD card. Yeah. So the one thing I hope they could fix in a future update.
Yeah. And is it because of the size cards? Or are they both SD cards?
They've never done it. Like even on the 5D Mark IV when I had it, redundant media for photos, but only for one. It would only write to either the CF card or the SD card for video.
I wonder if that's like a processor thing or something. Probably. Just being able to convert the video.
Because I know Sony's
splitting the video to like 2 ways or something.
Yeah, like with Sony and like even on the GH5, you were able to do redundant recording for both medias.
You said the S word. Video. Huh? You said the S word.
Sony. Anyways, but yeah, like. Yeah, I don't know if that's something they could patch in for a more update, but I would hope so, because especially if you're getting hired to shoot video, I would prefer having redundant recording. Yeah. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Now I know one of the big things that you liked on the RP versus the R was the rubber grip.
Mhm.
So is that the same like rubber grip
Like this
on
texture.
the RP that's on the R6?
It definitely
or-
feels like it. Like I haven't touched the. Actually, no, I did touch the R5, and the R5 also felt a little bit better
Mhm.
versus the original R's
Yeah.
like grip. But like I think they really borrowed a lot from the RP because I feel like the RP was a much more well thought out camera versus the R.
Yeah.
Even though the R does have like C-Log and like the same 5D Mark IV sensor. But I feel that the RP was just a tad bit better put together in terms of like ergonomics. You had the extra dial, the
Mhm.
better grip, in my opinion, that doesn't cause my hands to sweat.
Yeah, I felt like a lot of people like the RP body versus the R.
Mhm.
So
just
I
feels
think the
better.
fact that the R6 shares the RP body, it's probably like better for you because you're so used to that like camera now. And I know the R like the R5 still has a little screen on top
Yeah.
now too, right? Yeah.
It's
So
just
I
a
don't
chunkier
know.
version of it.
Yeah. It just doesn't have that little slider dial in the back.
Yeah,
now,
it's
or-
like I had mine programmed to change my my autofocus points, but I never used it because I was just figured it's just easier to go through the like push the Q button and then touch the screen to what you want.
Yeah,
and that's it.
I always just do it with my thumb while
Yeah.
I'm like trying to just kind of trace it where I want to go. If I'm having a hard time finding, I know like sometimes with RP the autofocus on like when you're using it for the eye,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't. Well, for me anyways, it doesn't find the eye all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just like a light thing, like if it's like not enough light.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up just putting the focus. I've always shot that way too, just putting the focus point right on the eye. So I would just drag it up to someone's eye and then just
Yeah.
start shooting that way.
No, definitely. I mean, like, I recently used the RP on like, just shooting some products
Mhm.
for a client of mine. And, just because I already had I had the 35 on it, I didn't want to swap lenses
Yeah.
to the R6. And it's just like the autofocus is so vastly different on the RP versus the R6. The
Mhm.
R6 is just like instant. And you got to play with it a little bit before we started. and
Yeah.
it's just night and day difference as far as like how Canon drastically improved it.
Yeah.
And I just definitely feel that the hit rate's a lot better. It'll focus on the item you typically want.
Mm-hmm.
Versus the RP, it's kind of like hit and miss sometimes.
Yeah.
Also depends on the lens and the lighting conditions. But yeah, I just felt that going back to the RP after using the R6 for like a week straight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could do it, man. I don't think I could do it. I love the RP. I champion that. And I know Adrian champions it too, because this is this camera, and I know you use it as well.
Yeah.
But it's just going to the R6 and the RP is like, oh man, there's just a night and day difference.
Yeah, just even today, like when we go out, like
Yeah.
to take pictures later on, I kind of feel like if I start taking pictures with your RP, I'm like, or your R6, I'm gonna be like, oh fuck, now I want one.
Speaking of taking pictures, so you just got a new lens.
Yes, I
So
did.
what'd you get?
I ended up getting a Helios 44-2.
Okay.
And it's pretty cool. Like so far, I like it. I
Tiny ass
mean,
fucking lens.
yeah, I didn't think it was gonna look so awkward on my camera, especially with the
I call
two
it the
different
James Bond
adapters.
lens
Yeah,
because it's like, and
looks like a
I'll-
silencer.
I'll throw a picture up, but it's like you have the camera body, then the adapter, then an adapter for the adapter, and then the lens.
Yeah.
It's like the James Bond lens. It just looks like a little silencer.
I was expecting it to be a little bit like chunkier for a like 58 mil.
Yeah.
And then when I pulled it out the box, I was like, holy shit, dude, this thing like barely fits in the palm of my hand. It's crazy.
And is it all autofocus or is it manual?
It's all manual.
Okay.
Like so, it's kind of cool because it was designed to be a cinema lens. So it has like 2 aperture rings. One's like a
okay.
set. One's just to set the aperture, so you can throw it. Hold on.
Chug, 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 chug.
Ugh. Okay, something in my throat. So it's got 2 aperture rings. One is like a set ring.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to take it from like f2 to f4 and just lock it at f4, what the fuck is going on here? Shit.
It's because I said Sony.
That's what it is. It's because you got the red light.
I know. I'm the Sith. I'm Palpatine. Do it.
All right. So I have no idea what's going on with my throat right now. So I think so it has that ring to lock it. So I guess it was designed for cinema, so if you wanted to just keep it at that set
Yeah.
aperture, you can kind of rock it back and forth.
Okay.
So it's it's a little tough to get it to the aperture setting, so I just leave it at f2. Cause, I mean, I got that lens so I can get the swirly bokeh.
Yeah, the bokeh on it looks like it looks really creamy.
But from what everybody says is you have to have like the right background to get the swirls. Like
Yeah.
And then I think it's also like distance to like whatever wherever your subject is distant to like the background, it'll provide that stuff.
Yeah.
So man, I got all kinds of problems today, huh? Dogs barking,
Dogs.
Losing voice, freaking
Ambulance.
technical difficulties setting
Yeah.
up the mics. Oh man, it's
we had a lot of technical difficulties getting started, but it's all good.
So when I do the audio, if you hear a slight buzzing, it's because I'm having technical difficulties, and I think it's the new mics. I mean, I've had these mics for a while. They've been sitting in my mic locker, and like for some reason, when I hooked them up today, they have like a slight buzz, and I thought it was just my audio interface. So then we switched back to David's recorder, and
Old reliable.
yeah, and it's still doing a slight buzz. So I'll find out once I go to edit the audio if I can kill that buzz or if it's still there. And if it is, then we might switch back to the other mics.
Yeah,
So it might just be the mics are dead.
Yeah, I mean it happens. Like you didn't know because it's like you'd expect something that you buy and don't use for a while to last.
Yeah,
but it's all good. But yeah, I mean, going back to the lens, I think it's really fantastic for the like how good the quality is out of that little tiny lens for the price. And like I remember the sample photos you sent us in the Instagram chat. Damn, dude. Just wait till like if we find like when we go shooting maybe something that has like the the little like overhead pendant lights, maybe get some cool bokeh there.
Yeah,
that'll be
definitely.
Cool.
So and I definitely want to try it out for video as well. So now that you have the R6 and it has the image stabilization, it would be something cool to kind of mess with.
Yeah.
I mean, the focus ring on that thing, it's smooth. Like
yeah.
I've messed around with video. I mean, I'm not good at video, but I've just messed around like just kind of just hand holding, like rolling the focus and from subject to subject, and it's pretty smooth. Like, and I guess they even make kits for that same lens now to where
okay.
They take those the lenses. I'm not sure if they take those lenses or they just rebuilt it, but it's the same lens, and they built a new housing for it that actually has the little gears on them.
Okay.
So when you're shooting film, you can
for like a follow focus and all that.
Yeah, so it's stuff like that.
I think they usually repurpose those because I've seen people like, or not people, but like there's a company out there that makes cinema lenses, but they take like the Sigma 18-35, which is a fantastic APS-C lens, and they repurpose it for cinema. So they actually like put it in a much bigger housing with the gears for follow focusing.
Okay.
And I think it still uses f-stops. I don't think they switched it over to t-stops, which I'm not too familiar how t-stops work. Supposedly they're a little bit more accurate than f-stops, but I'm not a cinema guy, so I'm not going to really comment on it, but it's still pretty cool to see how if there's a need for it, they will repurpose a lot of older lenses to satisfy that need.
So yeah, definitely for like, under $50, that lens was a pretty legit lens. So I'm just like kind of blown away, and I kind of want to mess with some more vintage lenses just to kind of see what character they give to like photography. Like I'm like dying to do more portraits with this lens and try it out and even shoot some boudoir with it, just because everything falls off. Like you kind of have to just shoot your subject in the middle because that's the sharpest point of that lens. After that, everything just smoothens out. It's pretty crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I remember when that lens first started to really like get popular online. I was like, I kind of want it, but I kind of don't, just because it's like, and it's not that I hate manually focusing, because I still manually focus for some of my videos.
Yeah.
But it's just like I'm so accustomed to doing autofocus that's just like, okay,
you might forget.
Exactly. It's like, and even when I was shooting with my Canon AE1 a while back, I'm so accustomed to digital that it's just like, oh, I actually have to make sure everything's in focus before I take the shot. I can't just like point, half press the shutter and then click. Man. It's just I never grew up shooting film, so it's something that's still kind of new to me, and like I still don't have a lot of the habits that somebody like you who manually focuses lenses and stuff like that would have. Because I tend to be a little trigger happy.
Yeah, and it definitely slows you down too, because like you kind of have to position like everything and just keep it in. But I kind of found that like if you find the sweet spot, you just leave it there, and then you just either walk back or forward, and they're in focus or they're not. So It's kind of easy, like
Okay.
in a sense. Like once you kind of find the sweet spot, you can kind of just leave it, and then just if you need to walk forward or back, like I said, they're there. So it's just having to look at the screen to make sure you're in focus.
We're good on time, so we got like 5 minutes.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, before all the 3 cameras just stop recording.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I kind of wish Canon got rid of the record limit on the R6.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
Well, I don't understand the whole like record limit thing.
So
I heard it was like a law or something.
Yeah, so
about
apparently,
it.
I think it was in the European Union. It was some sort of tax law where if your camera recorded more than 29 minutes or 30 minutes, it would be taxed differently. I think it would be considered a camcorder. So typically, I think camcorders overseas are taxed a little bit differently than just like a regular camera, like video or photography camera, DSLR mirrorless. So supposedly that expired, I think, a year or two ago. And that's why you have like the A7S III, no record limit.
Yeah.
The GH5 doesn't have a record limit. But I think they paid money to have it that way.
Oh, okay.
But you have things like that. So it kind of like made me scratch my head when they say, oh yeah, you still have the 30-minute record limit. Like, I don't mind dealing with it, but if we're doing a multicam setup like this, it would offer a little bit peace of mind. Like, let's say if our A and B cams, which are the ones that are on us, die or just stop recording because they hit that limit, at least we know that our main camera is still gonna have the, just gonna keep going. But yeah, I really hope there's a lot of stuff that they could fix in firmware with the R6. Definitely the overheating. It's not so much the overheating, it's how long you have to wait for it to cool down.
Yeah.
Which, quick thing, the new Panasonic S5 actually overheated. It heated in the DP review for it. In shooting 4K, but they waited literally 10 minutes and they were able to start recording again.
Yeah.
Like full 30-minute record limit. So I definitely think Canon could tweak it, kind of like how they did with the R5 with the firmware update. So the the wait times aren't as atrocious.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like this camera has a lot of potential as I think gonna be, and I definitely think it's gonna be the hit out of the two. Yeah. Because it's cheaper. It does everything the bigger brother does, just a lot less money you have to spend to buy into it. Yeah. And yeah, it doesn't do 8K, but who the fuck really needs it?
Yeah, who's really shooting in 8K right now? Like, come on.
I mean, I know MKBHD does, but he has computers that can handle it, and he also shoots on red. It's like, come on. Yeah. But with that said, thank you guys so much for watching the Photo Brew podcast from 3 different angles. Yep. And thank you to our live studio audience for being here. Check us out on Instagram at DLoVisuals and at
Manny Besro.
And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know which camera to wave.